We've talked quite a bit as of late about Google and their own desktop mode that appears to be finally in the works, maybe as soon as a quarterly platform release for Android 16. But we can't ignore the OG in this space, and that's going to be Samsung with Samsung Dex. We have a fresh leak to talk about, which is coming from Twitter. I don't know how to say this Twitter user's name, IPOS I'm not going to even attempt to say the name. I'm just going to show the things that you have shown. This is coming allegedly from an early build of One UI 8, and we do see some pretty big changes to the Dex interface. What I've done here on this article over on shanecraig.tech, by the way, link will be in the description, is I have taken screenshots of the before and then kind of tried to match them up with screenshots of the after, which of course were provided by the Twitter user whose name I cannot pronounce. So let's look at the before picture of the Samsung Galaxy Dex environment. And if we go to the next image, you can see how things are going to be changing. So the biggest thing that you might notice is that the little search button and the app drawer, which are kind of being obscured by this bar down here, are going to be moving from the far left over here to the middle. If we go back to the before image, you can see exactly that there. They're both over here on the left next to the controls. Now they're being moved to the center of the screen. Speaking of that search button, this is what it looked like before. It pops up this little UI, which allows you to do basically a universal search. Now with One UI 8, it's going to look fairly different. It's much more spread out, even though it's doing basically the same thing. I think that this is just making much better use of the screen real estate. Why did it need to be that small when you're using an external monitor? And of course, the styling is changing quite a bit as well. Notice the rounded corners on this UI. This one was kind of strange. It had rounded corners inside of sharper corners. I think that this just overall looks a little bit better. We have the little quick settings that pop up over here in the bottom right-hand corner of the Dex interface. It shows you, like I said, your quick settings, device control, and media output. Now, this is something that's going to match a bit more closely to that search interface, and it's going to give you a few more options. You do have your quick settings, but also volume, and then a few other options down there as well. And this is another big one, the app drawer. If you click on that little app drawer button, currently it goes completely full screen. It shows you all of your available applications. Now it's going to pop up in a little window. This looks very similar to Windows 11. You may like that, you may dislike that. You've got your little toggle up here to go from personal to work, and you have a search bar at the bottom as well. Now, what's interesting here is that this tech leaker said that this new Dex is based on Android 16's desktop mode. Now, what I find interesting about this is that you don't really see anything visually that would indicate that being the case. Now, obviously, we can't tell what's going on under the hood with how Dex is now running, but in terms of the visuals, there just really isn't a whole lot there, really at all, that would make you think that. So let's take a moment here, and we will take a look at what we have seen from Android 16's desktop mode, and we can kind of compare and contrast. These images do come from Android Authority. There's a link to that in this article. And so just for instance, this is the app drawer that we have in this unfinished desktop mode that is in the Android 16 beta 4. You have to do some things to get it working, but it's hidden away in there. It's kind of like a little bit of a combination between going full screen and being in a window. Notice how the app drawer and the search button are together. So this kind of just pulls up the app drawer and your search is up here. You get to click that to do your search. So they're separate in Samsung Dex. The device controls are over here on the right instead of on the left, and you don't have those system icons down here either. It's behaving much more like a phone with your status icons up here at the top right and your clock on the top left. Going a bit further, if you want to get to your quick settings, you're basically just like, I think you're swiping down. It looks just like a notification shade on your phone. So this, again, is much more like a phone than what Samsung is doing with Dex. It almost makes me wonder, instead of looking for signs of what Google is doing in the new Dex, maybe we should be going about this the other way around. Spend a little bit of time looking at Samsung Dex, and I think it becomes abundantly clear that what Google is doing definitely is not finished and definitely is not ready for prime time. So, is it possible that before this fully releases to the public, that Google might come a lot further towards what Samsung is already doing? I think that they really honestly need to, because what Samsung is showing here, looks considerably better than what they are putting together. I think that it is abundantly clear that Samsung just has a much further along product, a product that isn't sort of still acting like a phone even though it's on an external monitor. They have completely reworked this interface to be an interface that makes much more sense on a larger display. So again, under the hood, we could have some Android 16 desktop mode stuff going on, but definitely above the hood, the coat of paint and the body of this is all Samsung, and it looks significantly better, in my estimation, than what Google has done so far with their desktop mode. And I think that, again, that is good indication that we should not be expecting Google's desktop mode anytime soon. It's not going to arrive with Android 16. It might be a quarterly platform release later on because they still have quite a bit of work left to do. At any rate, it does look like One UI 8, despite the fact that it's going to be arriving so soon after One UI 7, is still going to have at least a handful of interesting changes coming. We do expect to see it debut alongside the Galaxy Z Fold 7 and Z Flip 7 probably in a couple of short months. And hopefully this time around, when it does roll out on those new devices, every other device isn't waiting months and months and months to get this update. And if that's the case, then Samsung should be pretty much caught back up, and all the ugliness from One UI 7 and the many delays and how long that took to get here will be a thing of the past. Guys, thanks for watching. Check out the link in the description down below to see these images for yourself. Let me know in the comments down below how you feel about these changes. Do you like them? Do you want to see some things tweaked? Keep in mind, some things might change a bit between what you just saw and when it actually comes out. So just keep an eye on that, and don't take the images as being 100% set in stone because it's not out yet, so things are always subject to change. Subscribe for more content just like this, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.